Couple of days, the Nets are the best record in the East. Then they embarked on an 11-game losing streak. Kevin Durant went down with a knee injury. James Harden suffered a boo-boo as well, and then he decided he wanted to get traded, which he did. All of this happened in a remarkable span of less than 30 days. Harden's gone. Kyrie can only play home games. Finally, tonight, Kevin Durant will return. Nets play host to the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Boston Celtics play the highlight machine known as Ja Morant. They host him at TD Garden tonight. Front half of the national television doubleheader. Back half is the Lakers and Clippers, and I have no idea why, because both teams stink. Washington Wizards guard Bradley Beal was asked this afternoon whether he's leaning on staying with the team this summer. Beal's response, it's fair. Beal has a $36.4 million player option for next season. Should he decline, he's eligible to sign a 5-year, $246 million max contract with Washington. Beal's season ended back in late January after he injured his wrist with season-ending surgery.
Brought to you by Capital One Shopping. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Capital One Shopping. What's in your wallet? Savings and available coupons vary.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Cade Wazan.
You know, Cade has a very strong leg.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. You might have noticed that there has been a change here on AFR. After the sabotage that went down yesterday, one member of our crew has been summarily dismissed. More on that coming up. But what a night. A heartbreak up in Fayetteville for the Tiger basketball squad. A baseball team keeps on rolling. The Pels have made it 3-0. We got Scott Kushner, Kendall Rogers, Mike Nabors to talk some Saints. A lot to do today, and glad to have you riding shotgun with us. Let's start with Tiger basketball, where LSU came up just short in Fayetteville last night. 77-76. Tigers let a golden opportunity slip away. After the game, here's what Will Wade had to say about the loss.
Obviously, extremely, extremely disappointing. I'm proud of our guys. We played well. We played extremely hard, limited our turnovers. We made our free throws. You know, we did a really nice job on the offensive glass and the glass in particular, but we just weren't solid enough defensively down the stretch. You can't make the mistakes we made defensively down the stretch. You just can't do that if you're going to win big games in tough environments. But I thought we played better. We played better against Missouri. We played better tonight. I think we're making some progress towards how we need to play. We just weren't able to finish it off, which is extremely disappointing. I thought we deserved a little bit better tonight.
That's a mild way of putting it for a guy who oftentimes is quick with his tongue. LSU last night had a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and Arkansas is a very good team. If you're going to go on the road and try to win in Fayetteville, you got to be nearly flawless. Ask Kentucky, ask Auburn, ask Tennessee. A lot of teams that have gone there and lost this year. And credit Arkansas because they are a very good team. They're well coached. They got talent inside and out. That crowd is always energetic and makes for a sincere home court advantage. And LSU did a lot of dumb things that contributed to the loss. That said, the officiating was horrendous. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But I want to start with, before I just tee off on the officials, because this is a gigantic pet peeve, and last night was a microcosm of it, of a bigger problem. I want to be very clear that I believe officiating does not win or lose games. LSU didn't lose that game last night because of the officiating. There are two coexisting realities. LSU made a lot of mistakes, which cost them the game, and the officials were horrendous. Even in the Nola no call, the most egregious example of an officiating blunder that any of us hopefully will ever see. Hopefully we never see anything like that again in our lives. The Saints still had so many opportunities to win that game against the Rams in the NFC Championship game. They even had the ball in overtime and breezed through a pick. I mean, you have so much you can control over the course of the game that you can't solely pin the result of a game on one call, blown or otherwise. That's my opinion. And when you look at LSU last night, there was a lot of not good. Your best player, Tari Eason. I don't know why he's shooting a three, but he did. Bricks a three. Arkansas grabs the defensive rebound. Tari Eason, 70 feet from the basket, wraps his arms around the Arkansas player out of frustration. Foul. Your senior point guard, Xavier Pinson. Same thing. Arkansas taking the ball up. They just crossed the timeline. Xavier Pinson from behind tries to go for a steal, wraps his arm, goes through the offensive player. Foul. 40 feet from the basket. Efton Reed on the defensive end. Got his body between the basket and the offensive player. Good positioning. There's an entry pass. Efton Reed goes through the offensive player like a free safety trying to dislodge a pass over the middle of the defense. It's just not smart. LSU commits a ton of dumb fouls over and over again, and it's been symptomatic of this team all year. Things that just are not smart plays. And it puts you in position that when the 50-50 calls don't go your way, it's magnified because it creates scenarios where Tari Eason fouls out last night in a play that was really a scrum for a loose ball, and he was a little handsy, and they whistled him, and that was number 5. LSU from the three-point line, 6 of 28. 6 of 28. This is not LSU's game. We've gone over it so many times. They are at their best when they're shooting a low number of high percentage threes. I love Mwani Wilkinson in the corner. He is just under 50% on the season from three. Last night he was 1 for 2. Same shot. Same shot in the corner. Made one of them, missed one. The one he missed was right at the end. Disappointing. Was a chance to grow the lead. Didn't happen. Xavier Pinson shoots about 20% from three. He was 0 of 7 last night. Stop shooting. That's not your game. Efton Reed took a 3. Why? Sharif O'Neal took a 3. Why? Brandon Murray was 0 of 5. That's uncharacteristic.
Murray, present.
Thank you. Eric Gaines, early in the shot clock, fall away contested 3. Why? It's not what they do. Let's say 5 of those were really good looks at the basket. You still wasted 15 possessions with bad attempts. Precious possessions in a game you had to have. Too many missed opportunities for this team, which led to that final sequence where Mwani Wilkinson gets called for a hook, a flagrant foul. I've seen the still shot that everyone's passing around. If you go watch it in real time, Mwani hooked him. And honestly, if he doesn't exaggerate it and fall backwards, it's probably just a personal foul, and they go about their business. Now, kid from Arkansas made one of the 2 shots. It was Kamani Johnson who only hit one of the 2, and then LSU got the stop. So that didn't actually kill you. But what did kill you is you go down the floor and you're unable to convert, and then you get the foul on the defensive end, which puts Note on the free throw line to win the game, which he did. That foul at the end was absolutely atrocious. And this is where I'm going to go in hard on the officiating. It wasn't just that foul at the end, which, number one, was a terrible call against Mwani, and number two was a miss because Note left his feet. It was a travel. Note picked up his dribble. He was cornered by 3 defenders. He elevated to try to throw over them, realized he had nowhere to go with the ball. He came down. That was a travel, and instead they get Mwani for a foul, which puts J.D. Note on the line to win it. That is an absolutely atrocious miss in a spot where if you are a major college official, you cannot miss that call. And they did. And it cost LSU in that situation at the end. But that was just a piece of the entirety of the game, which is a grander problem that college basketball has that I don't know that they want to or can fix. Officiating in the Southeastern Conference is atrocious. It's at an all-time low. You got a handful of veteran officials that are pretty good at their job. Again, none of them are good. They're all bad. Like, it's impossible to be perfect at that job. I've said this in every sport. You got a handful of veteran guys that you can tolerate, but everybody else is awful. On these 3-man crews, you've got a lot of guys that are making up an entire 3-man crew that should be the 3rd man on a 3-man crew, and that's the entire crew. You get crew chiefs that have no idea what they're doing. That was evidence of it last night. The fact that we sat there and watched a 2.5-hour college basketball game is nauseating. 40 fouls were called in that game. Y'all, it's a 40-minute basketball game, and there were 40 fouls called. They could not play on average 1 minute. They could not play 1 gosh dang minute of basketball without a zebra, a try-hard, blowing a whistle. That was the athletic definition of stop-and-go traffic. You speed up, you slow down. You think you have a clearing, you start to speed up, and you stop. And then you sit and you wait. And you creep and crawl, and then you start to go, and you stop. And there's no flow. An official's job in any game is, of course, to enforce the rules, but also to maintain flow in action. Think in football. Spot the ball. Get the play clock running. If there is a challenge or review, make it happen quickly. It's about flow and tempo and pace so you don't stand around and wait. College basketball right now is an atrocious product. It is an awful product to watch. If you are not betting on games, or if you don't have an emotional interest in the game, like if I went to LSU, I love LSU, I'm going to watch LSU. It is so hard for me just to sit there on a Tuesday and watch Maryland and Iowa because the games are awful. The one and done has neutered the talent in the league. You have guys that are in the game. You have guys that are only here because they're held hostage to be there for 1 year, playing for themselves and not a team concept. You've completely taken good, strong veteran presences away from college basketball teams that are involved in a team concept. And then you have officials who don't know what the hell they're doing that blow 40 whistles over the course of a 40-minute game, which makes it absolutely an awful experience. College basketball is in an awful place right now, but they're not going to fix it because the only way to fix it is to actually pay officials to be better at their jobs, and they're not going to do that because why would they spend more money on that? And the other part of it, and because the real cash cow of college basketball is March Madness. It's the NCAA tournament. We're all going to watch that regardless because there's upsets and you fill out a bracket and people gamble on it. And that alone is the billion-dollar entity. So as long as that exists as it is, and it will, the rest of college basketball doesn't matter. They're not. The powers that be aren't incentivized in any way to fix this atrocious product. And the other part of it is the NBA. If the NBA would allow kids to go straight from high school to the pros, you wouldn't deal with the one and done in college basketball. And I know I'm ranting here, and it doesn't have a ton to do with last night, but it has everything to do with last night because that's why watching last night's game was so frustrating no matter which team you cheered for. Neither fan base came away from that game thinking, man, boy, that was really enjoyable. Refs nailed it. What a well-played game. It just wasn't that. You have some really talented players who I think gave great effort, but by and large, that was a miserable viewing experience, regardless of the outcome. So it's not going to get any better as far as the grand picture of college basketball. But for LSU last night, it was massively disappointing because you had a great opportunity. I want to come back. I want to let you hear a little more from Will Wade last night, what it means big picture, this loss. I went a little long in this segment because I got off track ranting there about the state of college basketball, but it's just the reality of what it is. Officiating's terrible. The pace of play is non-existent. It's just a really, really tough watch. And because of the result last night, LSU's in a really tough spot now for what their goals and ambitions may be as they move through March, hopefully on a deep run, but that becomes far more complicated now after dropping that game last night. We'll continue. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Clegg's Nursery, especially on beautiful days like this. The sun is shining. It is 71 degrees and sunny in Baton Rouge right now. Man, you want to go work out some of that frustration from LSU's loss last night? Get in your garden. Just plant something. It's so zen for a lot of people. You get the benefits of being outdoors, maybe break a little sweat. You get the sunshine on your shoulders and your face. Just get your hands in the dirt, connect with Mother Earth, or just do things that you think look really good. Clegg's Nursery can help. They get pallets of flowers and plants and trees and shrubs arriving daily at all of their 4 locations. So if you want to add a pop of color to the flower bed, those patio pots, maybe you want to plant a vegetable garden or trees or shrubs, Clegg's Nursery can help you. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, buy local, shop local for more than 60 years. Be sure to tell them that Matt sent you in when you go see our friends at Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with $2,750 off MSRP. Shop our inventory or let us custom order your next vehicle with up to $2,000 bonus cash, our 1,000,000-mile warranty, and more. Shop BayouCDJR.com or visit us off I-10 in La Plaza. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Alexandria.
We just didn't want to lose. I think last game we took them for granted and we coasted and we lost. In this game, we knew what the environment would be like. We knew it would be hostile. We knew all those things, but we just wanted this win for ourselves more than anything. I think it's a tough one.
It was Tari Eason after LSU's 1-point loss at Arkansas. Big picture after the loss, LSU's net didn't change at all. They were 16 going in. They're 16 coming out. That's the product of playing a game on the road, a quad one road game like that. Like we say often, losing that game isn't going to hurt you. Winning that game would help you. And that's the sort of really disappointing thing, big picture, for LSU is you had an opportunity last night. If you're checking bracketology, Jerry Palm has LSU as a 7 seed. Shelby Mast over at USA Today has LSU as a 6 seed. So I don't know that there's a real great consensus on where LSU is, but it's somewhere in that 6-7 range. And the really tough part is, what happens if you aren't able to get yourself up off the mat on Saturday at 11 a.m. to take on Alabama, and you drop that one. And now all of a sudden you've lost 3 of 4. And you go into the SEC tournament, and depending on what your draw is, and you're not maybe super motivated in that game, or if you drop one and you're one and done, now you've lost 4 or 5, and are you squarely in the 8-9 game? And that's what LSU is trying to avoid here. I know we've talked about it a bunch. We've talked about it for several weeks now because this is kind of the narrative around the final few weeks of the regular season is what can you do realistically to set yourself up to make a run? I know everyone might roll their eyes right now and go make a run, but if you want to think of it circumstantially, if they call J.D. Notte for traveling, LSU wins the game last night. And think about how different a conversation we're having here is. Because of the result, I say a lot, winning masks deficiencies. Well, the opposite is often true as well. When you lose, sometimes you ignore all the very good, which is LSU went on the road against arguably the hottest team in the SEC, a team that on that floor has beaten Auburn and Kentucky, has beaten some of the best teams in the country, and LSU went toe-to-toe and had every opportunity to win that game in front of a hostile crowd last night. They took some big steps after the really disappointing stretch where they lost 6 of 7. I mean, that was a very hard-played, good effort game by LSU. A lot of the self-inflicted wounds, the silly fouls, the poor shot selection, a lot of the things that we talk about often here. But, my goodness, man, they made their free throws last night. They defended when they need to. They battled back from a deficit in the second half with some things not going their way. They fouled out Jalen Williams with about 5 minutes to go. There were some real positive takeaways, but can they get up off the mat and start to build themselves? Because if they can, that team that showed up with the right draw and playing its best game certainly could win. I mean, you can tell me LSU can't go win a 6-11 game? Sure they could. And if they flip around, can they beat a 3 seed? A top 20 team in the country? It's a team like Arkansas potentially. Yeah, absolutely they can. Will they? I don't know, but that's why March is fun. That's why we watch the tournament, because you have those possibilities for teams to make a run. But something that's got to happen is Tari Eason's got to stay on the floor, man. Another day. And this has all of a sudden become a real, sincere problem for Tari Eason. He's fouled out of each of the last 3 games. And it's silly things. I mean, we were talking about the officiating in the last segment. If there's one thing more than any other that annoys me to no end with college officials, and it is a stark contrast if you actually take time to watch college and the NBA, it's the block charge call. You very seldom see charge calls in the NBA. College refs treat calling an offensive foul like some of the yahoos behind home plate love to give you a strike 3 call in baseball. It becomes the show and it becomes all about them. Well, they love to put their hand behind their head and point the other way. It's absurd. We saw 2 of them last night. The officials jobbed LSU out of a 4-point halftime lead. LSU's up by 2. Xavier Pinson makes a beautiful play in the air. The bucket goes. They call a charge because Jalen Williams ran underneath Xavier Pinson while he was in the air. No. The offensive player has the right to land. You don't get to run under somebody when they're in the air. But that's the problem with college officiating. They are awful. They're awful at their jobs. So you get a play like that at the end of the half. There was a charge called against Tari Eason. Like, that cost you a foul. You couple that awful call with some of the silly mistakes, like Tari Eason fouling 70 feet from the basket out of frustration, and then you get your best player fouled out more quickly. So this has become a problem for LSU now with Tari Eason. I'm checking right now to see if he had fouled out at any point this year. Tari Eason I'm looking right at his lines. He had not fouled out at any point this year. And then all of a sudden, no, I'm sorry, he did. He fouled out in the game at Tennessee. Forgive me, he did. And the game at Auburn. So he fouled out at Auburn, at Tennessee to start conference play. But after that, man, he had not fouled out of a game, and now he's fouled out of the last 3. He played 13 minutes against Kentucky, 20 minutes against Missouri, and just 18 minutes last night. You need your best player on the floor. And in 18 minutes, he scored 24 points and pulled down 7 rebounds. He affected the game in every way. I mean, Tari Eason last night bullied Jalen Williams at times. There was one time he pulled down a one-arm rebound, just snatched it from Jalen Williams, who had positioning. Like, Tari Eason proved last night when he was on the floor why he's going to be a lottery pick. But, brother, you got to be on the floor, man. I need 28 minutes out of you, not 18 minutes out of you. So, man, if this team, and I know there's one game in the regular season left, and the ifs seem like they're already answered. But if they can be consistent, play their best ball, keep Tari Eason on the floor, then, yeah, they're capable of beating great teams. They've beaten Kentucky. They've beaten Tennessee. It's just so hard at this point to think they're going to be able to do it. But somehow, some way, they've got to avoid that 8-9 game. And the best way to do it is win at home on Saturday against Alabama. Try to get you at least one win in the SEC tournament against whomever that's going to be. It's going to be one of the bottom feeders in the league. But you manage to do that, you're going to avoid that 8-9 game most certainly and give yourself a chance in March, whatever the draw may be, to at least play into the second weekend. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. You know the drill. Give our friends at Relief Windows a shout. They will lower your monthly energy bills with these Energy Star energy-efficient products. Lower your monthly energy bills by making your home more efficient. Increase your home's resale value by beautifying the exterior of your home. And remember, these windows come with a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. So sell your home. The person who buys it 10 years from now, their kid throws a baseball through the window, Relief Windows will still replace that window for free. 288-8138. 288-8138 or ReliefWindows.com. Y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you with us. Man, I wanted to spend some time in this segment talking LSU baseball, but there was just so much to unpack from the basketball game last night. We will have Kendall Rogers with us 1 hour from right now to preview the action this weekend in Houston. I'll take some time maybe in the next segment sandwiched around the SEC to get your thought on LSU's win last night against UNO. And we do have to talk some Pels also. Pels beat Sacramento by 30. Scott Kushner of the Advocate's going to be with us in 45 minutes, talk a little Pels. They've now won 3 in a row coming off the All-Star break. And, boy, they certainly look like they're gaining steam and figuring out how to play with C.J. McCollum. Last night was a lot of fun to watch if you were watching all 3 games at once, as I was at different points. All right, we'll knock out a quick break. Thanks for being here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Better coverage for less money. That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're open for another hour. I would highly recommend you call right now. I'll give you the number. 293-0450, 293-0450. Every single day, without fail, I get a message from somebody via the text message, via Twitter, via Facebook, via email that says, hey, Matt, what's the name of the insurance company that checks for the better rates? It's Insurance Network of Louisiana. Insurance Network of Louisiana. Again, there are no strings attached. There's no fine print. The process could not be easier. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. They will go shop for free dozens of the top-rated companies in the world to find you better coverage for less money. You can do it yourself, but they have the relationships. So let them shop so you can save. It's Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Kushner Health.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling along, go around the SEC in just a quick second. As we mentioned, the Pels did get a win last night, their third in a row. They beat Sacramento by 30, 125-95. If you're watching the game, you probably did notice that the Pels were collectively wearing yellow socks. As explained after the game by center Jonas Valanciunas, that was in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, of course, are staving off right now invasion from Russia. Here was Valanciunas after the game.
You know, it's tough to talk about that topic because of normal things going on there. You know, as we talked last time, it's a big mess. You know, we're just trying to bring more attention. You know, enemies still out there. You know, innocent people still dying. Yeah, all the world talking about, you know, sanctions, support, prayers, but something else has to be done because the war's still going on. So our world got to see this, and you know, and I don't know, it's hard to talk about this topic, but attention has to be brought to to Ukraine people.
That was Jonas Valanciunas after the Pels win last night. Valanciunas is from Lithuania, which is on Russia's western border, and talked about how he's watching this on his phone in disbelief, and talking to friends and family back home about what's going on there in that region. So, his point's a good one. I don't know that we're going to solve the world issue or an issue of war here, but I thought anyway a really classy show of solidarity from his teammates there for the people there in Eastern Europe. All right, we will talk about the game itself with Scott Kushner of The Advocate coming up here in about 40 minutes or so. Always love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. 75 years, if you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, and rents the products that you use to weigh and measure. Of course, here in our state, agriculture is such a giant part of our economy. If you are in agriculture, no doubt you know of Michelli Services. You can go to the website, Michelli.com. You see the industries tab agriculture, and you can see all of the different ways that they control quality. They track every pound with quality agriculture scales. I mean, you don't need me to tell you how much having an accurate weight and measurement of your crop matters for the success of your farm or your business. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, and rent the project you use to weigh and measure, the products you use to weigh and measure at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Save money, improve tracking, meet compliance, improve efficiency, maximize productivity, ensure quality control. It's all there, courtesy of Michelli Weighing and Measurement. For 75 years, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
So Nick Saban has added two more notable names to his roster of football analysts. One of them we told you about earlier this week, in Todd Grantham, the former Florida defensive coordinator. But they've also added Auburn receivers coach Cornelius Williams. Williams was fired by Auburn, you might remember, fired by Brian Harsin just 4 games into the 2021 season. Before he was at Auburn, Williams spent 6 seasons coaching receivers at his alma mater, Troy. Alabama has previously hired former Tennessee coach Derek Dooley and ex-LSU quarterback Zach Mettenberger as analysts.
The Auburn Tigers.
Starting center Walker Kessler. He sported a protective brace on his left shoulder during Wednesday's overtime win against Mississippi State. Kessler sustained that injury 4 days earlier against Tennessee. Scored just 4 points in 29 minutes in the game against Mississippi State. That was his lowest scoring output in nearly 2 months. Former North Carolina transfer. He's averaging 11 and 8. He's a semifinalist for the National Defensive Player of the Year, and this is likely something he's going to have to deal with for the remainder of the season and the postseason.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And the 11th season of SEC Storied wraps with Catch 98. It's the story of Tamika Catchings and the 1997-98 Tennessee Lady Vols. It's an hour-long documentary. It'll preview June 23rd, the 50th anniversary of Title IX on the SEC Network. The 97-98 Lady Vols, made history with their perfect 39-0 record, the most wins ever in women's collegiate basketball at that time. Also on the hardwood, we told you, of course, LSU beat Arkansas. The aforementioned Auburn Tigers, ranked 5th, went on the road and needed overtime to beat Mississippi State. A big day for Jabari Smith, a projected lottery pick, potentially the first overall pick. He had 27 and 10 for Auburn as they move to 14-3 and clinch at worst a share of the SEC regular season title. And Texas A&M, they beat Alabama 87-71. Boy, Alabama certainly is struggling there under Nate Oates as the Aggies have played themselves onto the bubble now. They're 19-11 overall. Alabama also 19-11, 9-8 in the conference, but a 16-point home loss to Texas A&M. That is going to do a lot of damage to your NCAA tournament resume. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. They're online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale, 45 years in business there at Gulf Coast Office Products. That's what Trey Beal and the gang offers. If you need office equipment for your business, for your school, the church, or home office, whatever it may be, they can service you same day or at worst case 10 a.m. the next day. Official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, and of the Raging Cajuns. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. Baseball Tigers got a win last night. They moved to 8-1 on the season with the win over UNO at ALK Box Stadium. K. Doty homered again last night, as did Jacob Berry. Doty drove in 3 runs. The top of LSU's order was awesome. Their first 5 hitters combined for 8 hits and 8 RBI in the win. It was a tough night for UNO pitching as they issued 10 walks in the game. A couple of things, takeaways from last night's ball game there at ALK Box Stadium. As I mentioned there, top of the lineup was awesome. As you expect, they will be, as they have been, and I don't know that they're going to cool. I'm not suggesting that these guys are going to continue hitting 400 throughout the course of the season, but you really have to choose who you're going to pitch to, and that's been a struggle for a lot of teams right now, the least of which is Jacob Berry, who is starting to find his groove. He homered again last night. Jacob Berry's homer went 413 feet. It was the bombest of Berry bombs. If you weren't watching the game, he turned on the pitch and shot it over the right field wall. And, man, I'm going to tell you, it certainly looked like it had gone off the Intimidator. At closer look or review, how about after further review? Berry's homer went off the top of the diamond deck sign in right. If you missed it, we'll play it for you if you're watching right here. I mean, he hit the crap out of it, and it looked like it bounced off the bottom of the Intimidator, but it actually went off the diamond deck sign on the top of the bleachers. 413 feet by a far the longest homer hit by an LSU player so far this season. And Jacob Berry is really starting to come into his own early. After I think that opening weekend, he was really pressing. But he's settled into a groove right now and did last night. A little disappointed, expected more out of, or hoped maybe for more out of Garrett Edwards. He threw the first inning, allowed the first 2 runners to get on base. He allowed a run in the first. He went out for the second, allowed a couple more guys on base. They lifted him. Grant Taylor came in to pitch, earned his first collegiate win in relief of Garrett Edwards. And I'm going to make this prediction. This isn't necessarily a bold prediction, but he reminds me so much right now of Ty Floyd a year ago, of Blake Money a year ago. He reminds me of a guy. What do you have? Money! Did you do the rotator, CV?
Yes. Sorry, I realized the radio audience didn't see me shaking my head.
So, less than 24 hours after we fired Matthew Musso for his insurrection, we already have the rotator.
That is correct.
You know what you need? You need an AFR OG. That's all it takes, is an AFR OG, like CV, the original AFR producer. There was a day in the far past where CV and I were the only 2 people in this entire radio station. It's good to have you back, CV.
Thanks, man.
And thank you for doing the rotator. Let's try it again. Blake Money. Feels so good when it works right. Paul, doesn't it feel so good when it works like it's supposed to? I know, right?
Feels great.
All right. On Grant Taylor, the point being, he's got great stuff. It's really just a matter of, will he learn to command it and to command a presence to be a starting pitcher? He's got the stuff. It's not, I mean, he was pumping mid-90s last night, controlling, commanding both sides of the plate, throwing multiple pitches for strikes. He's going to be a dude. He's going to be a dude. You just tell he's got the stuff. If he can command, if he can have that presence, a commanding presence, he'll be a guy. And then the one thing I'll tell you I want to watch this weekend, last thing, LSU walked 10 times last night. As of right now, only Tennessee hitters have walked more than LSU hitters to start this season. LSU's drawn a ton of walks. Maybe that's the competition. That's totally fair. Could very well be. You could make that argument for anybody, though, and in any year, quite honestly. Last year, LSU was 7th. They were right in the middle of the pack in the SEC in drawing walks. They were 7th. Right now they're 2nd behind only Tennessee. I want to know, and what I'm going to be interested to see this weekend, is that the competition you're playing or is that your collective approach? I think it's their collective approach. I think you have a team that is going to the plate with a plan. They're not swinging at bad pitches. They're having competitive at-bats where they're fouling off borderline pitches, and they're willing to take their base. I think at the end of this season, LSU is going to be right there in the top 2 or 3 in the conference in drawing walks because pitchers, a lot of staffs are going to pitch around LSU's hitters, and they're going to be patient enough to take walks. So something to watch this weekend when LSU goes to Houston for the Shriners Classic against 3 Big 12 teams with Oklahoma, Texas, and Baylor. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. For more than 50 years since they opened their doors back in 1968, Shawbills will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll keep you coming back year after year after year because they treat you like family. That's Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, the newest location in Livingston Parish there in Denham. Find the location nearest you, schedule service online, shop tires online, and check out all of the great promotions, how they save you money. Just hit the promotions tab at the top of the website, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, we'll wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Kushner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not 1, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour one, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. If you missed this news today, the NFL and the PA have agreed to suspend all league-wide COVID-19 protocols. Breaking news there. Effective immediately. So this pauses 2 years of their COVID-19 protocols. The testing, the contact tracing, everything, all the NFL's COVID protocols done. They're not testing anymore. There's no more sitting out, no more contact tracing, no more masks, any of that stuff. The teams are required to comply with state and local health regulations. So in states or communities where maybe masking is still required, whatever the case may be, still have to do that, but nothing according to the NFL. So obviously I'm in favor of this. If you followed anything we've talked about with respect to COVID, and I'm not sitting here trying to tell anybody how they should think or feel. I'd largely believe, do you? If you want to wear a mask and that's going to make you comfortable, great. If you want to be vaccinated, great. If not, make your own decisions and live with the results or consequences of your actions, however that may go. Okay. We don't need to go into that conversation. I felt that way for some time. When I saw this today, I don't know if you felt the same way, but immediately my mind went right to, sorry, CB, I was just snapping for effect. My mind went right to the Miami game. And I couldn't help but think, and granted, in 2020, the Saints were the beneficiary of a game like that. When they went and played in Denver, and Denver had no quarterbacks. Their entire quarterback room was on the shelf. They had a practice squad receiver playing quarterback in an NFL game. So the Saints were the beneficiary in 2020, but I couldn't help but think of the Miami game this year, where you were without Sean Payton. You started Ian Book at quarterback in an NFL game. You were down 20-some-odd players and coaches due to all the contact tracing and everything, and it cost you. And for a team that was one game away from making the playoffs, it really, if you start to play the connect the dots game, you were a win away from, and I know they lost the Giants, and that's their own thing. That was my take. They lost the Giants, and they blew it at home, had an 8-point lead, a 2-score lead with 8 minutes to go against Daniel Jones, and you blew it. But that's another instance where you had a home game against the Dolphins, a game, if you're whole, you very likely win on your home field, and if you get that, you're a playoff team. And if they're a playoff team, maybe do they go on a run? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. But my goodness, look at some of the upsets that we saw happen in these playoffs. It's plausible to think it could have happened for the New Orleans Saints to win a game or two or whatever it might have been with that defense. And does that maybe impact Sean Payton's decision? You know what I mean? So you start to play this connected dots, and it's spilled milk at this point, but the connective tissue of all of the COVID protocols, all of the contact tracing, guys missing games, coaches missing time, all of it, it's hard not to look back and wonder, what if they hadn't been so overbearing with many of these policies and procedures that, while yes, COVID has impacted the lives of so many, we know by and large overwhelmingly does not impact healthy, young, athletic men. But It's the reality of it. And thankfully, it appears as though we are all collectively moving on, not only the NFL, but as a society. So the NFL, again, has immediately suspended all league-wide COVID protocols. No more COVID protocols. And here's hoping the numbers stay down, and this continues into this offseason and into next year. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey, and Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Scott Kushner is going to talk some Pels in about 20 minutes. We'll have Kendall Rogers talking about the Shriners Classic at the bottom of next hour. Mike Nabors will talk some Saints with us coming up in hour number 3. When we come back, though, the Saints have continued restructuring their offseason. They've re-signed one of their free agents. We'll talk about it next.
AFR.
And, of course, if you want to wager on all sports action, the best place to do that is at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The DraftKings Sportsbook, that's the place to do it. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge, and you better believe they always have great specials and promotions for you. Like right now, UFC 272 is this weekend. Covington, Masvidal. Here's your play. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Bet just $1 on the main event. Bet $1 on Covington Masvidal. And no matter the outcome of that fight, they'll give you $100 in free bets. It's right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Bet $1 and get $100 in free bets. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. Minimum $5 deposit.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with $2,750 off MSRP. Shop our inventory or let us custom order your next vehicle with up to $2,000 bonus cash, our 1,000,000-mile warranty, and more. Shop BayouCDJR.com or visit us off I-10 in La Plaza. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors. It's the law.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Kevin Winter. Kevin Durant got to return to the court tonight after missing the last 21 games with a sprained MCL. He got hurt back on January 15th. Has been watching the Nets go through an absolute free fall ever since. Entering the night, the Nets sitting in 8th in the Eastern Conference. But tonight, KD set to make his return after making sure this was the right time to do so.
Obviously, I know I can go out there and help, but I don't want to hurt myself even more trying to go out there and you know, be a superhero, you know, just to be out there. But, you know, I'm glad that I was able to get some time to work on my body, and the training staff did a great job of, you know, working with me every day. And now I'm here to just see where I'm at after this game and just keep building.
Nets play host of the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. The Ukrainian Football Association has lodged a formal request to FIFA to postpone Ukraine's World Cup playoff semifinal game against Scotland, planned for March 24th because, well, you know, their country's being bombed and invaded by Russia. Ukraine was the runner-up to France. Group D still qualify for Qatar.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Cade Wazan.
You know, Cade has a very strong leg.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Scott Kushner will stop by. We'll talk some Pels in about 15 minutes. They won by 30 last night. Blew out Sacramento. Firmly now in the 10 spot and creeping closer to the Lakers, who are in the 9. It is pretty significant if they're able to switch spots because remember that pick, the draft pick that the Pels sent to the Lakers is top 10 protected. So if the Lakers keep plummeting, there's a chance the Pels can get that draft pick back, which would be, man, would that be insult to injury for LA, and what a coup would be for the Pelicans. So keep cheering for the Lakers to lose, by the way. There's massive significance in that for New Orleans for a lot of reasons. All right, so Scott Kushner in less than 15 minutes. Kendall Rogers, bottom of this hour. LSU baseball there in Houston. I just saw Jacques Doucet on Twitter, had posted some photos as LSU right now is working out at Minute Maid. There's a video from Jacques of what this is actually of Oklahoma arriving there at Minute Maid, but the LSU's there already. So credit Jacques Doucet on Twitter for the video. If you're watching, he's on Twitter at Jacques Doucet. I'll give him a follow. You can actually see LSU in the background. They're working out in the outfield. So LSU and Oklahoma Friday, LSU Texas Saturday, LSU Baylor on Sunday. So the Saints are in Indianapolis with the rest of the NFL going through their the combine week, but in advance of the start of the league year and the need to be within cap compliance, the Saints have already begun restructuring contracts. We talked about that a bit earlier this week. They've restructured Michael Thomas and Ryan Ramczyk and Andrus Peat, and they're going to continue working as they still got some $40 million to go to be within cap compliance. But they're also looking at their own free agents. And there are some very prominent free agents with which they're going to have discussions. Chief among them is Teron Armstead. Obviously, Jameis Winston is one of those that they seem to have very high desire in bringing him back. But there are other sort of, I don't want to say marginal players, but other players where they're going to have to make decisions. And one of them they've decided, and that's tight end / receiver Juwan Johnson. And there have been multiple reports, among them Nick Underhill reported that the Saints have agreed to a deal with Juwan Johnson to keep him in New Orleans. 1-year extension. Johnson was set to be an exclusive rights free agent. So the Saints just had to tender him an offer to make sure that he remained in New Orleans. So it wasn't even a restricted free agent type scenario where other teams could offer and the Saints could match. This was an exclusive rights free agent opportunity for New Orleans. So they re-signed Juwan Johnson. He'll be back in New Orleans for at least one more year. Quick reminder about Juwan Johnson, if you don't remember. Big-bodied wide receiver. Started his career at Penn State, transferred to Oregon, where he played his final year of college after the transfer portal was a thing. Went undrafted. The Saints signed him as an undrafted free agent, and he ended up making his debut in the 2020 season. Caught 4 passes in 7 games. And then in 2021, had a little bit of a larger role as the Saints were so decimated by injury. Obviously, no Michael Thomas. They let Emmanuel Sanders walk. So they were looking for pass catchers. And he ended up playing in 14 games in year 2 in the league. Caught 13 balls for 159 yards and 4 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson is probably best known, if not just for football, he's best known because he and his wife have a viral TikTok account. They have a joint account together. And if you remember, in the 2020 season, they went viral for a video where he surprised her, telling her that he was going to play that Sunday for the first time in an NFL game. And her reaction was awesome. Juwan actually came on the show after that. It was a lot of fun. You could tell. Great dude, young guy trying to make it. Interestingly enough, he's entering year 3 in the NFL, same age as Joe Burrow at 25 years old. So Juwan Johnson is going to be back with New Orleans as they have re-signed him. But what's interesting, and I love the decision, by the way. I love the decision. He is first of all, it's super affordable. And we haven't seen terms posted just yet, but on a 1-year exclusive right free agents deal, you're going to be talking about around $1 million. His number last year was in the $700K range. So affordable, a guy that in a reserve role was productive for you in a year where you needed productivity. And I like also what it says about Juwan Johnson, that as a guy who played receiver his whole life, was willing to try tight end out of necessity. New Orleans had been looking for that pass-catching tight end, and Juwan Johnson is 6'4", 231 pounds. He's not your prototypical tight end, the 250, 260. He's not Kittle. He's not Kelsey. But what he could be is Jared Cook. Now, let's hope it's Jared Cook without the drops, without the inconsistency. And I don't know that he'll be that productive of a player throughout his career. He's still learning the position. But as a pass-catching tight end, he's a good option at a position where the Saints need them. Adam Troutman was expected to take the big step forward this year, and it just didn't happen. I mean, they let Jared Cook walk, obviously. His inconsistency was a problem, and his drop in the playoffs against Tampa Bay was likely the final nail in the coffin for his time in New Orleans if it wasn't already decided. But that also, as 2 years ago, Troutman had taken such a larger role as the season went along in the offense, and we were hoping that we were going to see Troutman take that big step this year, and it just didn't happen. He ended up with 23 catches for just 263 yards and a couple of scores, marred by drops. His Pro Football Focus grades as a blocker actually improved this year, which it's one metric, take it for what it's worth. But as a pass-catching option, we didn't really see Troutman develop, so you're still looking for options there. Now, I think the Saints should go make a play for Kyle Rudolph. We talked about that on the show on Wednesday. That would be a veteran presence, guy who you don't need a ton of production. I kind of compared it to Benjamin Watson when he came back to New Orleans and played that 2018 season, and you had Watson and Hill kind of in tandem. I think that would be a great option. But having Juwan Johnson back is another young guy that you can mold and think of it this way. I am going to, until we see otherwise, I'm going to assume offensively that it's going to still look a lot like, with Pete Carmichael, a lot like it did with Sean Payton. I mean, they really are one and the same. I mean, Carmichael is Sean Payton's, is the Robin to Sean Payton's Batman. He's been riding sidecar for 15 years. I mean, they have worked together, they've scouted together, they've consulted together, they've game planned together. I'm going to assume that it looks very similar. And in Sean Payton's offense, it's not always about wide receiver or running back. It's about pass catchers. Who is going to catch passes at different levels of the defense? Who do you have the guy that's your guy in the screen game, the intermediate route, the blow the top off the defense guy? So, I mean, I think of Alvin Kamara, and I don't think of a running back with respect to the receiving game. I think of a pass catcher. I mean, he was your second leading receiver last year behind Marquez Callaway. Callaway had 46 receptions. Kamara had 47 for 439 yards. Callaway had 698 receiving yards. So I think of Juwan Johnson not so much as a tight end, but as a pass catcher. Can you flex him out while you still have an attached tight end? Can he maybe take reps to give Michael Thomas a blow in that role, the big-bodied receiver that goes over the middle? You'll have Michael Thomas. You'll have Marquez Callaway. You'll have Deontay Harris. What do you do with Traquan Smith? Y'all know my feelings on that. I'm not a fan at all. I would like to see him walk, but we'll see what happens there. Kamara's going to miss 6 games, but you assume he'll be back at some point. What role does Troutman play? Does Nick Vanette return, and is he a factor in this offense? Ethan Wolf, same thing. You got Garrett Griffin as well. Is that a guy that could potentially play some type of role in this offense? And you throw Juwan Johnson as just another option. It's another big-bodied pass-catching option. Whether you label him a tight end or a receiver, the hope is one of these guys continues to emerge in the pass-catch game. I mean, I don't want to set too lofty an expectation, but the way Jimmy Graham did. I mean, Jimmy Graham had played 2 years of football. And as he got into the flow of things, he learned how to use his body to create mismatches within this offense. Maybe that's Adam Troutman. Maybe that's Juwan Johnson. Maybe it's someone they draft this year. I don't know. But for an affordable option like Juwan Johnson, who's been a great team guy, who clearly likes being in New Orleans, who's been willing to sacrifice and switch positions, I like having that guy in the locker room as an option for a pass catcher, especially at that price. So Juwan Johnson will be back in New Orleans for at least another year. All right, it's after further review. Same will be said for C.J. McCollum. We hope Zion Williamson and B.I. and the rest of the crew there with the Pels. They've won 3 in a row right now. Let's talk about it. Scott Kushner of The Advocate, he'll join us next to talk some Pels. They've won 3 in a row. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, this Saturday at Pluckers on Nicholson, Hudco Hat Party. Y'all come join us. This Saturday, 7 o'clock, first pitch, LSU and Texas from the Juice Box. I'll be at Pluckers. Terry will be at Pluckers. It's basically a big game watch. If you don't have anything going on Saturday, or if you do, cancel those plans and come hang out with us. We'll be at Pluckers on Nicholson. We'll be slinging Hudco hats. We'll be eating wings, drinking beer, and hopefully watching the Tigers beat up on the Longhorns. Saw them off. Now, look, it's not just that game, of course. You've got so much going on right now. It's the NBA. It's college basketball. Conference tournament time is here. College baseball. LSU plays at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Maybe play a little hooky if you're not going off of work early. Get by either Pluckers location to watch the game. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery via Uber Eats or DoorDash. And join us Saturday. Terrio and I will be there to watch LSU in Texas. Hopefully you'll join us as well. Pluckers, if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we roll along here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Pels win last night. They didn't just win. They stomped Sacramento. 125-95, 30-point win, and it has looked kind of like that the 3 times out post-All-Star break for New Orleans, and they are getting a lot of attention, as they well should. Scott Kushner is good enough to join us for a couple minutes. Talk about it. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm gambling on the Sun Belt Conference tournament in the middle of a Thursday. Matt, this is the dream.
It kind of is the dream. It's really the only thing that makes college basketball worth watching is gambling. It really is. It's gambling or an emotional tie, because the sport right now is in a hell of a lot of trouble. It's a really tough watch. But the NBA is in a very healthy spot right now, and the same could obviously be said for New Orleans. Okay, what has been the common theme among the 3 games post-All-Star break that's led to the blowouts?
They're scoring the ball, man. This is a team that really struggled from guard perspective for basically the entirety of the season. And then all of a sudden they get C.J. McCollum, and they had, it was, I think, the introduction period. They had some difficult opponents, but they lost some games, but they were scoring. And now they're scoring, and their defense is kind of leveled out back to where it was. But he just adds an incredible dynamic and allows really everybody else so much more space. You cannot double Brandon Ingram because C.J. McCollum is going to kill you. And that's what last night, I think there was a stretch of like 6 straight possessions where Ingram kept scoring from the mid-range. They couldn't send a second guy on him because if he did, you're going to set up a wide-open 3 for one of the best shooters in the league. And it's just amazing the dynamic shift that occurs just by having a guard who is a threat out on the perimeter.
If there is one sort of unfortunate result of McCollum's emergence here, It's that Garrett Temple is he's the guy whose minutes have just gone to, like, literally. He was a DNP again last night. Is there a role for him on this team?
He's a very smart, nice guy, and I think he'll be great in the locker room. Garrett had a lot of chances to get minutes. He did not have a great season. I think he would be the first to tell you he did not have a great season. I think they had to pull him kind of out of the rotation and see what they looked like, and they've played better since he went out of the rotation. I don't think you could blame Garrett Temple for their struggles in the backcourt, but the fact that he was having to play was emblematic of how bad they had it in the backcourt overall.
Yeah. And look, it's CJ McCollum. I mean, it's just such a very obvious upgrade. The other thing that was interesting, and you saw it right at the start of the second half because they spurted in the third quarter, which, as a random aside, Scott, how many times did you and I have conversations about the abysmal third quarters that the Pels always seem to be mired in? And now all of a sudden they're like good in the third quarter. What's going on coming out of halftime?
Hey, maybe there was a difference of who was on the other bench last night. Maybe maybe the coach last night being on the other bench. No, I mean I can't tell you. I mean the Lakers game, the third quarter was just obscene the way they ran past them. And then last night, I think you were just playing a team that honestly just wasn't as good as them. And over time, just sort of the separation just occurred. No, they've been really good. I don't even know if it's necessarily adjustments because I'm not seeing them do a lot different. The shot making has just been really good. And over a period of time, when you make shots and keep putting pressure on the opponent, it's just going to eventually open up for you. And especially you watch them break the Lakers. I mean, that third quarter, the Lakers absolutely gave up. And that is something that you never saw from this team, even as at their best points of this season. You never saw them just totally dominate opponents like they have, I think, about 4 times since McCollum arrived.
Let me not miss an opportunity. Did you talk to Alvin Gentry yesterday, by chance?
I've talked to him in the last week or so. I did not talk to him yesterday, then. Okay,
all right. I was just curious. That's I guess I didn't really think. I'm trying to think how far back the third quarter woes went. Like, was that just a Gentry thing? Was that even predating him? But anyway, I was glad to see it go the way that it did. Herb Jones also has been this, like, I mean, we should have known, right? I mean, he was Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC at Alabama, and I don't know maybe what I was expecting, but were you expecting this?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anyone was expecting. The fact, I mean, what did he hit 3 threes last night? Like, he couldn't make a shot in Alabama. He couldn't make a free throw in Alabama. Now, if he could shoot at all, now he was the SEC Player of the Year, despite, not being able to shoot. It was pretty, it says a lot about who he is. But yeah, the reason that he was taken at 35 and not at 10 or 6 is because he couldn't shoot, and now he can shoot. And so the Pelicans got the steal of the century because this guy got to the NBA and figured out how to shoot, which doesn't happen very often for rookies. It happens from time to time. Players over time get better shooting, but he is like a very legitimate shooter now, and all of the defensive skills and all that kind of stuff are all still there. And so just you got to give him just tons of credit, and he does everything right. I mean, everything. He sees the floor so well, and it is, this team has been mired in bad IQ basketball for as long as I can remember, since Chris Paul left, and he is just such a wonderful player to watch because he has none of those traits that any of those other teams had.
Scott Kushner is with us from The Advocate. Does it strike you as odd that we're talking so glowingly about a team that's 10 games under 500?
Yes, I think about it all the time. I'm always like, everybody's so optimistic. They're in 11th place,
It's so bizarre. But like, there is a lot of reason, though, right, to be optimistic about this team right now. Look ahead. The schedule remaining, I looked at this coming out of the All-Star break. If I remember correctly, they had like the 3rd toughest schedule in the West remaining. And maybe like the 5th or 8th toughest overall schedule in the NBA remaining. So it's not going to be easy, but like when you look ahead, what do you think is a realistic projection for this team the rest of the way?
I think if they can slap the label of success onto this season, if they get into the 9 and host one of those play-in games, I think that is just about where they are shooting to end up at this point. Now, they've played well, obviously, the last, week or so. But I think to expect much more than that would be a lot to ask. Like for them to catch the Clippers, who are, at 6 games in front of them, or to catch the Timberwolves, or a little bit more, like 8 games in front of them. I think that's impossible. But they can definitely catch the Lakers. They're a game and a half back of the Lakers. They play them 2 more times. The Lakers are fading, and nothing would make this fan base and really this front office happier than to catch LeBron and then host them here at in a 1-game playoff. I think that would be, everything that this franchise could have hoped for especially after going 3-16 to start the season.
Remind me also the because I mentioned this last hour, and I'm almost positive I have this right. The Pelicans, the trade with the Lakers, their pick this year is top 10 protected, right? So if the Lakers end up in the top 10 in the draft, the Pels will get that pick back, won't they?
Correct. So that would be right now. The Lakers
that would be so good.
The Lakers are a game out of that right now.
That is so. I need to look. I need to pull up the whole league standings. Then I didn't realize they were that close.
Lakers
Okay,
are 20th in the league right now. The Pelicans are 21st, a game and a half behind them.
Oh wait, so basically they just swap places. So if the Pels end up as the 9 and the Lakers end up as the 10. The Pels are going to get that pick back.
It's not quite that simple.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Got to look at the East. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And the Hawks are right.
Okay.
So there's a couple other teams. But, yes, as of today, if you're looking at it like very bluntly, the Pelicans are 21st in terms of overall record, and the Lakers are 20th. And so that would be the difference between, pick 10 and pick 11.
Oh, my God. That is so crazy.
And they traded the pick to Portland if it doesn't convey, so like it's all part of the McCollum deal. Also, the whole thing is nuts. So it's extremely complicated.
So
but
you get McCollum and the top 10 pick back.
Yeah, it would be very much a convoluted way to like perfection, and while still having like a pretty bad record. It's a very
like if nothing else, right? If you're listening to this right now and you don't give a rip about the NBA, but like you're from here and you hate the Lakers because you're supposed to hate the Lakers or whatever, that in and of itself is reason to keep watching. Like to watch the Lakers get so jobbed in this thing would be fantastic.
And I mean, that's the reason that they're like feeling the sky is falling, because they've got very few options, and especially, it can just get really bad really quickly, because once LeBron asks out, or if, the Westbrook thing has just blown up on them. And so that's the team to watch. I think the horse race that you're looking for if you are following this team casually for the rest of the season is the Lakers and the Pelicans. That is the one to watch. The Blazers are going to play their way out of it. They're kind of the nearest competition for that playoff spot. They're not even trying to get it. The Spurs and the Kings are in the mix, but they're not very good either. I think Pelicans, Lakers battling for that 10-9, and then knowing that pick can convey and switch differently, and hosting that game would be a lot of fun too. I think that would be as fun as that arena's been in 4 years since you were sitting there courtside in the playoffs.
Doing the get it ready with the 6'10" stompers and high-fiving DJ Jubilee, and ending up on I believe at the time the NOLA.com Twitter with like 600,000 views doing get it ready. And no shame in this game. All right, he's Scott Kushner on Twitter at Scott D. Kushner. Y'all give him a follow and read his stuff. Thank you for the time.
All right. Unfortunate loss by South Alabama for my wages, but it's okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But you got the Vols, right? I mean, it's Vol time. Your creepy baseball coach who pisses everybody off. What's his name?
Tony Vitello?
Yeah, him. Yeah, the Paisan. Yeah, okay.
Big weekend in Houston. Big weekend.
All right.
See you there.
Yeah, best of luck to y'all. Make sure you wear plenty of orange so everybody can see you coming. We'll see you later. Thank you. All right, that's Scott Kushner. We'll see you. All right, it's After Further. Speaking of, Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. He's next.
AFR.
Rouse's has got you covered for crawfish. That's right, y'all. Listen, if you're Catholic, many of you here in South Louisiana no doubt Fridays in Lent are a time of sacrifice. It's a time where we put aside our earthly material wants and desires, and we say, you know what? Not going to eat meat. So in this sacrifice, if you decide that you are going to consume seafood, boiled crawfish is a great way to live out that sacrifice. And Rouse's is here to help you in those sacrificial ways. If on Fridays in Lent, or any day, quite honestly, you want to bypass beef, chicken, pork, and really suffer through eating boiled crawfish, Rouse's has got you covered. Live and boiled. Learn more. Rouse's.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Tigers and Sooners tomorrow at 3 o'clock, right when we're pushing off from the dock here on AFR. They'll be throwing out the first pitch from the juice box there at Minute Maid. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, he'll be there. He's with us now. How are you, dude?
I am doing all right, man. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's supposed to be in the 80s all weekend. The roof will be open during the day. It's a little bit different than last weekend in Louisiana and the state of Texas.
Yes. The last 2 weekends have been pretty brutal here, and I have enjoyed all of the baseball from the comfort of my own home with a nice pour of fine whiskey, a fire going, some wool socks. I've been quite comfortable, actually, so I haven't minded it whatsoever.
That sounds like you could have a lot tougher things going on in your life.
There is no doubt about it. I'll wait till the weather is super nice before I drag my behind out to a ball game, but I'll watch plenty of them. I'll watch this weekend. Hey, I want to give you credit. You were with us preseason, and you were higher on Blake Money than most. What did you see or know?
Show me the money!
By the way, that has replaced Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
There we go.
Or existed alongside said pitcher. What did you know about him preseason that maybe we didn't?
Well, I think the biggest thing is he has shown flashes in the past with electric stuff. I mean, the times I saw him last year, he was up to 94, 95 with his fastball. His slider was what I kind of call Landon Marceau-esque, like it was that nasty. And I just always kind of thought, like, hey, if he can put those two pieces together and, be consistent, like, this guy's a chance to be really good. And so, we'll see what he does against, obviously, a lot better competition in Oklahoma tomorrow than the last 2 weekends. But, you're seeing, big-time strides the last couple of weeks. I feel like when I was watching him, part of his outing last week, the thing I noticed about him, Matt, is, like, physically he looks a lot better. Like, even last year, like, he didn't look bad. But, he just looks a lot leaner. There seems to be a little bit more strength in that frame. And so I like what I've seen. We'll obviously see what he does this weekend. But, again, if he pitches the whole season like he has the last 2 weeks, that is an absolute game changer for this team.
I know you got to see Oklahoma and Arlington in the opening weekend. And look, Oklahoma's been more battle-tested that opening weekend. For those that don't play, they played Auburn, Arizona, and Michigan, won 2 out of the 3 there. What can you tell us about the Oklahoma lineup?
Well, you're talking about Blake Money and kind of keeping his confidence going. I actually think Oklahoma's a really good matchup for him because Oklahoma, knock on wood, I guess, if you're an LSU fan, but Oklahoma, when I saw them, they were not very offensive, and they weren't very offensive last week against Northwestern State. But, the one thing with OU is you got to keep Peyton Graham in check. If Peyton Graham can kind of get rolling, he's a guy that'll be, their shortstop, will probably be a late first-round pick in the draft this summer. If they can kind of keep him in check, then I think you can pretty much keep the rest of that offensive lineup in check. So the key is not letting him get going. When he gets going, the rest of that offense kind of follows suit. So I think it's a really good matchup for Blake, and I can understand why Jay Johnson's starting Blake tomorrow against Oklahoma. Because here's the thing about kind of looking at the long term here. Let's just say you have Blake Money starting the first 2 weeks. He's looking really good.
That's money, dude.
You got to get used to it, bro.
He's got multiple clips.
Well,
clips.
we haven't decided which one we want to go with. So we have a rotator of like 10 different ones. Yeah. We're trying them all out.
From now on, I'm just going to call him Blake, so you can't do that.
Okay.
But, no, in all seriousness, I don't even know if this is winning the Jay's thinking, but if I'm Jay, like, I kind of want this guy to kind of build himself up for SEC play. And I don't know if I want him throwing in front of 20,000-plus people against Texas on Saturday. Like, I think I kind of want him in a little bit more of a subdued environment in the Friday game. Let him throw well, because it's all about what you do in the SEC and what you do at the end of the season. What happens against Texas Saturday night really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Okay. I'll come to Texas in just a second. So you mentioned OU. They're hitting 219 as a team. Baylor's not much better. They're hitting 240 as a team. Should I read too much into these offensive numbers for Oklahoma and Baylor? Are they struggling that much offensively?
Yeah, Oklahoma, I'll be honest with you, Oklahoma did nothing for me offensively at Globe Live 2 weeks ago, and they didn't do much last weekend. So I just think Oklahoma is probably not going to be a very offensive team. With that said, they do have a really good pitching staff that's going to keep them in a lot of games and probably get them into a regional to 2 seed. So, Baylor, for me, they had one bad weekend against Maryland. Maryland turned out to be really good. Maryland's 6-0 in their last 2 series against good teams. So maybe it's just more so Maryland being that good. But, Baylor responded pretty well last weekend against a Duke team that was previously top 25. So I'm not sure what to expect from Baylor this weekend. It's kind of like Peyton Graham with Oklahoma. I think Baylor, the key for them is just keeping Jared McKenzie from driving you crazy. Because if you remember a couple of years ago at Minute Maid, Jared McKenzie had a really good performance against LSU, and against pretty much everybody else that weekend. So just keeping him from getting rolling, obviously is optimal. I think Baylor has more upside offensively than Oklahoma, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Kendall Rogers is with us, D1Baseball.com. It's a great time to go subscribe to D1 Baseball, obviously with the Shriners Classic this weekend, with LSU baseball really getting cranked up right now. Let's talk about Saturday night. I would assume this is the marquee matchup of the weekend, LSU, Texas, 2 top 10 teams there in a professional ballpark. Kendall, I'm guessing we're going to see Mikhail Hilliard. Who are we going to see on the bump for Texas?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. You have 2 older guys, which I think probably sets the stage for a very clean, very kind of consistent game from the pitching standpoint. I think when you look at Hilliard, obviously he's a guy that's going to command his curveball. I think that's the biggest thing for him. If he can command that curveball, he's probably going to be really good. I think for Texas, they're going to go with Tristan Stevens. And he's one of those guys that, in the offseason, I kind of thought he would go pro. Even though he's kind of a pitchability guy, low 90s. He was hard-nosed. He had a really good year last year. I thought the professional ranks would give him a really good shot. They did not. So you've got a guy who's extremely battle-tested, hard-nosed, knows how to pitch, and he's back for another season. And he's one of the big reasons why they were preseason number 1. So LSU's going to get very much tested this weekend, not only against Tristan Stevens, but also against Jake Bennett tomorrow. Yeah,
the lineup for Texas actually looks kind of similar to LSU's. Big boppers at the top, a lot of dudes hitting over 300. I do want to ask, because what we had seen the first couple of weekends from LSU on Saturday, Kendall, was they'd go Hilliard and then they'd go Javen Coleman to sort of get you to the back end of the game. Coleman left his outing on Saturday, and the early whispers don't seem to be really good. He's obviously not going to pitch this weekend. So how does LSU maybe piece that game together? How might that look against this Texas offense? Let's say if Mikhail gets you 9 outs or 12 outs, he'll get you through 3-4 innings, and then they have to hand the ball off and start rolling through the bullpen.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens if he can only give them 4 or 5 innings. I mean, I think what you're looking at is a situation where you've got to get Devin Fontenot, Eric Reiselman, Gervasi, guys like that. They've got to be able to go in there and give you several solid innings. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens if he can only give them 3 or 4. It could get really interesting. But I think Hilliard will give them 5 against Texas. And I'll say this about Texas too, is even though the numbers may look similar to LSU, I don't think Texas at the end of the day is anywhere near as offensive as LSU is going to be this year. I think the numbers are a little bit inflated from a few games here and there, but there's no doubt, a lot like LSU with Jacob Berry and Dylan Cruz, the key for teams against Texas is keeping Ivan Melendez from driving you crazy.
All right, let me pick up then there. You said Texas hasn't been as offensive as LSU. I don't know how much you've gotten to see LSU yet, but I would like your impression of what you've seen so far, as they've put up some eye-popping numbers, albeit against not great competition. So what have you seen so far from this offense?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is, when you go into the season, you always kind of want to see if teams meet expectations. And I don't care if you're playing Iona or you're playing Maine or you're playing Tennessee. What I like to see is consistency. And I think when you look at this LSU team offensively, you've seen consistency. Even against La Tech, a game they lost, I wouldn't say they lost it because of their offense. And so I just think when you look at this lineup top to bottom, they're just not a weak spot. There just really isn't. So I think for my money, I think it's the best offense in college baseball. And we'll kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of if I'm right this weekend in Houston.
He is a big fan of Blake Money. He is Kendall Rogers. That one runs like 8 seconds. That one's a little long, but don't you love it though? Like, were you an old school wrestling fan back in the day?
I was not.
Oh wow, okay.
A big wrestling fan, but that's still great. I like the versatility there.
Yeah, so that was Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. I'm really surprised. You and I are about the same age, and that like late '80s, early '90s wrestling scene with WWF.
You got to get that old. You got to get that old school hip hop song. What is it? Where it's like money, money, money.
I think we
get that in there too.
With the OJs, we may have that. Hit it again. Oh, we got that one. All right, we got all right. Next one.
Okay.
Wait till I get my money right.
No,
there we go.
There's that one.
This There we go.
Yeah, that's
right there.
the OJs.
I don't know. That wasn't old school hip hop. Yeah, that wasn't old school.
Well, it's the OJs. It's a good one. You know, it's just we're trying them on to see which one hits the most.
I like it.
So
see what kind of sticks. I mean, we'll see if you can find one that's as good as the Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
I don't think there's any chance. Like, there's so many generations of LSU baseball fans now that come up to me randomly, or like parents that'll send me videos of their kids in the car going, Ted Peterson. They have no idea what any of this reference is, but we've made an impact. If nothing else, that's my lasting impact.
I'm sure your wife's very proud of.
She is, for different reasons, not necessarily the Todd Peterson drop, but yes, absolutely. Okay, man, enjoy the baseball this weekend. We always appreciate it. Thanks. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
All right, that is Kendall Rogers. He's just the best in the business, man. If you love college baseball, there's just nobody better. There's nobody who covers it, wider and deeper than Kendall Rogers. I mean, every team in the country, and not only just knows the best players, he knows all the players from every team in the country. He's the best, so we appreciate him. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. When we come back, CV will have some Tigers in the pros. Stay with us, AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org, expanding healthcare in the Baton Rouge area. You can go to the website at brgeneral.org, and you can learn more about all of the different services that they offer and all of their different locations as well. Remember, they've got the Bluebonnet campus. They've got the Mid-City location. They've got the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, which just celebrated its first full year open right there on LA 73, where emergency care is now available in Ascension Parish. It's never been closer than it is right now. And, of course, the Express Care locations as well. I mean, there may be times where you get a little fever or cough, you want to see a doctor, but you don't want to wait on an appointment. Just pop into one of the Baton Rouge General Express Care locations. You can find them near you at the website at brgeneral.org. Just hit the locations tab, and you'll see all of the Express Care locations around the greater Baton Rouge area. brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Kushner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Remember, the Aesthetic Medicine, Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, voted the nation's best aesthetic practice, literally, at the National Aesthetic Show out in Las Vegas. The best aesthetic practice in the country. They're right here in Baton Rouge. Blue Bond in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, or online, theantiagingclinics.com. I got a text into the show from Matt French, who said, wait, if KNSU legend Cascade is in the studio, did Muso get that random drug test? Cascade from KNSU?
That's right.
Care to explain?
Well, spent a couple of years at the great Nicholls State University, and for I think every semester I was there. I did work at the campus radio station KNSU.
And your on-air name was Cascade?
I think I just went by Cade, but some people call me CV, and some people call me Cascade.
Who called you Cascade?
I don't know.
Okay. I kind of like it. I thought maybe you were saying that was your on-air name. Well, you are the program director of this here station. Do you care to let everyone know what's happened with young Matthew Muso after his admitted treason yesterday?
Look, you know me. I'm all for fun and games.
Yes.
Fun and games here at the radio station.
That's your nickname.
That's right.
Right alongside Cascade.
Correct. Fun and games here at the radio station. People having a good laugh.
Yeah.
A good chuckle. But when you mess with the on-air product, where you're, maybe you're damaging a piece of equipment, disconnecting a microphone.
Ooh.
I mean, really, there's all for fun and games.
Yeah.
But we start messing with the equipment here. This is nice stuff.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. If you don't appreciate it, there's a door.
Yeah, there's the door. It's right there.
Right.
Take your pile of weed with you.
Oh, this chair kind of reeks.
All right. CV has
Ganj.
Tigers in the pros. Ganj. What?
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
My guy said ganj.
I'm out of touch. I don't know. The reef? All right.
Rolling doobies.
Last night in the association, Trendon Watford for the Portland Trailblazers. 30 minutes of action, 5 of 12 from the field, 13.7 boards, 6 assists, and a block. The Blazers did lose to the Suns 120-90. As you mentioned earlier, with the increased minutes of other Pelicans, it was a DNP for Garrett Temple when the Pelicans played the Kings and won 125-95. Brandon Sampson for the Iowa Wolves in the NBA G League. 17 minutes, 2 of 7 from the field, 5 points, 4 boards. The Wolves did fall to the Salt Lake City Stars, 126-122.
Right.
And if I have this correct, Sam Burns tied for 51 even through 2 rounds, or through today. He just finished a little while ago over at the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
The Arnie.
Orlando.
Do you think they drink Arnold Palmer's between rounds?
Please, I hope.
I would think so. Do you like Arnold Palmer's?
I do. I really do like Arnold Palmer's.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of tea. I don't like tea.
Sweet or unsweetened, either way.
Don't like tea. I just don't like tea. People are like, how are you Southern? I'm like, I don't know. I don't like tea. What do you want me to say?
I think tea's a different Southern, though, right? That's kind of a Georgia Southern. Maybe?
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay. Paul, what do you think? Tea? You like tea?
It has to be sweet.
Okay. CV, you like tea?
I do, yeah.
Like tea? My dad likes tea. I don't know. People go to lunch. People get tea. You get a water or a tea. You go to those white tablecloth big luncheons, the 10 tops.
Yeah.
There's a glass of water, there's a glass of tea. I never drink the tea.
At the house, I don't have any soft drinks. We do have a case of literally it's the bottled Arnold Palmer's.
Oh.
And so every now and then, if I'm not drinking water or coffee in the morning, I mix in a little Arnold Palmer.
I like the Sports Center commercial
Yeah.
where they're watching Arnold Palmer
But SP?
make the Arnold Palmer like that was awesome. All right.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com, and they're in Baton Rouge, in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, but locations all over the state. Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport as well. Gentlemen, if you're trying to thrill her, a beautiful, sparkling diamond every single time, and you'll always get the Lee Michaels experience, no matter your budget. Don't be intimidated. Just walk through the door at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, it is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Sports Center gets caught up on national headlines. Mike Nabors talking some Saints in about 20 minutes. Stick around here, AFR.
AFR.
Hudco Roofing. HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. And I'll tell you right now, my partners and I over at Hudco, what is happening right now? Inspections, because the calendar is about to change. We're into the new year. Spring is almost here, and you know the old saying about spring showers or April showers, something like May flowers, whatever it is. Basically, we're going into the time of the year where it rains a lot and we get hail. So make sure your roof is ready. There's only 2 ways. There's only 2 ways to know if you have roof damage. Get up on your roof and inspect it, or wait till you have water spots on your roof because you got a hole in your roof. Let us take care of that. Hudco Roofing. Go to the website, hudcoroofing.com. Hit the contact tab right there at the top. It'll take you less than 60 seconds to fill it out. We'll send a field inspector to your house to do the inspection. You don't have to be present. It's that easy. HudcoRoofing.com. HudcoRoofing.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Kevin Winter. The Brooklyn Nets sit just one game above 500. 8th place in the Eastern Conference. Wasn't always like that, however. There was once upon a time the Brooklyn Nets for a couple of days had the best record in the East. Then they embarked on an 11-game losing streak. Kevin Durant went down with a knee injury. James Harden had a boo-boo as well. Then he decided he wanted to get traded, which he did. The remarkable things, all of this happened in the span of less than 30 days. Harden is now gone. Of course, Kyrie Irving can only play home games. Finally, tonight, however, Kevin Durant's going to return. The Nets play host to the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Celtics will play host to Ja Morant and the highlight machine that he is known to be. Celtics and the Grizzlies, front half of the national television doubleheader. Back half the Clippers and the Lakers. Wizards guard Bradley Beal was asked this afternoon whether he's leaning on staying with the team this summer. Beal's response, it's fair. Okay. Beal is a $36.4 million player option for next season. Should he decline, Beal is eligible to sign a 5-year, $246 million Supermax with the Washington Wizards.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Cade Wazan.
You know, Cade has a very strong leg.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. We'll talk to Mike Nabors in about 15 minutes. Mike, of course, recently released a book on his many interviews and interactions with Drew Brees. He'll have a book signing in Lafayette and in Baton Rouge here over the next couple of days. And was actually spending the day today with former Saint, Tiger, and Super Bowl champ Randall Blue Gay. And looking forward to talking to Mike Nabors about some Saints offseason topics. We'll get all of that here in about 15 minutes from right now. It was, in some ways, an encouraging but equal parts disappointing day for LSU basketball. They went to Arkansas. They, I thought, played a tremendous game where they gave great effort and were right there in the face of a hostile crowd, but came up short 77-76. We talked a lot in hour 1 about what transpired in that ball game. I thought, despite the effort, despite so much of what LSU did well, the awful shot selection, the three-point attempts, which were as ugly as it was early in conference play, the silly fouls, which put them in a situation in the end game where they allowed a couple of really bad calls by the officials, which was a symptom of the entire ball game and has been of the entire year. It cost them late in that game, and it cost LSU an amazing opportunity to net a road quad one win and elevate their seeding, but they missed it. So if LSU's going to get another opportunity, it's going to have to come in the SEC tournament. They got another home game against Alabama, and this is an Alabama team that comes into Baton Rouge limping. They suffered a really ugly home loss yesterday to Texas A&M, and Bama is squarely in the tournament, as is LSU, but these are two teams right now that are looking for some mojo as they head into March and into postseason play. And I'm sincerely hopeful LSU can get off the mat Saturday at 11 a.m., and hopefully to beat a team that's had their number for the last 2 years there with Nate Oates. So, Darius Days after the game, was asked about the team now. It's number 2, CV, if we could, about the team now, and if it feels now more like it did at the beginning of the season when they rattled off 12 wins to start the season.
Definitely, almost getting back into a rhythm. X been going for quite a while. EG stepped up and the leading point guard. X been back a couple more games, but it's just not an overnight thing. It's going to take time. So, like you said, we almost getting back in the swing of things. Just staying solid and getting back to where we were at the beginning of the year.
And Tari Eason was kind of asked the same question. It was a game like that to go on the road, hostile environment, is good for the team as they move into postseason play.
Yeah, it's a good look. They're a high-level team, top 25 team. So I think that we wanted to win this game more than anything, especially just kind of what they did to us, and when they beat us at our house, so we wanted that badly, and I think that really fueled us. But like I said, we got another game. We have another game left against Alabama, and then we're in the tournament play. So we just got to trend in the right direction.
Tari Eason. We'll wait and see what LSU's draw is, not only for the SEC tournament, then, of course, a week from Sunday will be Selection Sunday to see, what their lot is going to be in the NCAA tournament there in the Big Dance. I'm really kind of at a loss right now. The reality of the situation isn't lost on me. Don't misunderstand me. This is an LSU team that they started 12-0. They'd gotten up to number 12 in the country. They lost Xavier Pinson. They lost 6 of 7. They have had a couple of inexplicable losses. The home loss to Ole Miss, road losses to Vanderbilt and South Carolina. Tough to win on the road in the league. Tough to win on the road in college basketball this year, like we've talked about from the beginning of the season. But that home loss to Ole Miss, you let some great opportunities get away, and last night, chief among them, where you had Arkansas beat. Now, what happened at the end of the game with the officials is inexcusable, but you know my feeling on officials. All officials are bad at their job. It's impossible to be good. You put yourself in a scenario where you allowed a bad call by an official to affect you, and that's LSU's reality with last night. Will Wade was also asked the similar question. It was this sort of theme about, and listen, I don't want to build up a moral victory. It's not about that right now. There's too much at stake, but can you draw positives? And Will Wade was asked if he was encouraged by the way his team's been playing of late.
I think we're playing closer to our potential. I think we're playing closer to how we played at the beginning of the year. That's what was so disappointing we didn't get the result tonight to kind of spring us forward, so to speak. But I thought we're certainly hopefully rounding the corner, and as we move into March here.
They're 30 games in. They played 30 games. They're 20-10. You're 30 games in the season. At this point, you are what you are. You're a team that is very athletic, that is active defensively. You have a wing player who is going to be a lottery pick, who can dominate a basketball game, as we saw from Tari Eason last night. You are similarly a team that's still not very good in the half court, that really lacks consistent jump shooters, that will commit absurd fouls, and sometimes struggles at the free throw line. If there was one thing I'll tell you from last night that was the most encouraging, it was the fact that despite losing the field goal stat, and John Brady talks about this all the time. Boy, he is big on that field goal stat. And I agree with him. I mean, he coached a long time. He would know. LSU shot 36% from the field. Arkansas shot 44% from the field. Typically, when you have that kind of a disparity, you're not going to see a game as close as LSU was there at the end of that ballgame, really with a chance to win it. But LSU made 18 of 19 free throws. They were 94% from the line. 18 of 19. LSU on the season is shooting 72% from the free throw line. They were 20 points higher than their average. They were 18 of 19 from the line. That's what did it. You shoot your average, that game last night isn't close. But, man, seeing Tari Eason go to the line and go 10 for 10 was awesome. They couldn't handle him in the paint, and every time they sent him to the line, he converted points. It was awesome to see. So, go get this game Saturday, man. Go get this game Saturday against Alabama. It's a huge opportunity. And if you win that game against Alabama and you manage to win one in the SEC tournament, you got to think LSU is going to be able to avoid that 8-9 line, which that's the key. If this team is going to make a Sweet 16, if this team is going to be able to play into that second weekend, I know all the warts. I get it. And it's so easy after a loss to focus on the warts. And they're obvious and apparent. We've seen them a bunch. But the opposite is also true, which is that this team has a lot going for it that makes it dangerous when it plays well. But it's going to need the right alignment, the right draw in the tournament to be able to play into the second weekend, to win 2 games and play into the second weekend, which is possible for this team. And you get into that second weekend and weird things happen. So go get the win on Saturday. We'll preview LSU Alabama tomorrow. As we've said, LSU's had a lot of trouble getting past the Crimson Tide and Nate Oates of late. All right, it is after further review. Love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. No matter your age or refractive issue. Maybe you're like me. Your late 30s. You've been wearing contacts forever. Be rid of them forever. LASIK could be the option for you. The Williamson Eye Center can help. Maybe you had LASIK and the rest of your eye is deteriorating and you're looking for options. My cousin Steven had PRK. Jacob Hester had PRK. 2 guys who in their 20s had LASIK and now, in their 30s and 40s have had PRK to correct that as they'd start wearing glasses again. No matter your age or refractive issue, there is a solution for you. The Williamson Eye Center can help find it. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. All right, it's after further review. Jimmy Out will be with us at the end of the show, as he always is, for a little Otter Locks. Looking forward to also talking a little bit about what's going on in the Combine, as a lot of quarterback-needy teams are making the rounds. They're picking up the phone, and they're also talking to these quarterbacks that are at Indy for the Combine. And all of these decisions are going to, in a way, affect New Orleans. Many assume that the Saints are going to make a compelling offer to keep Jameis Winston. I certainly think, as I've said here, that that's the best option. Yesterday on the show, we talked about how Pete Carroll said Russell Wilson's not really on the table. There seems to be some conflicting reports about that today. So what's out there, what's to believe? We'll get you caught up on all the latest about 15 minutes from right now. When we return, we'll talk some Houdat with Mike Nabors. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, look at that thermostat. 73 degrees and sunny. Spring is here, which means summer is right around the corner, which means it's pool season. You don't really want to be in 100-degree weather with 100% humidity, a heat index of 110, sitting outside just baking, do you? Relax, cool off in your own custom pool, just steps from your back door. Pinnacle Exterior Construction makes that happen every single day. PECbuilt.com, PECbuilt.com. They built our outdoor kitchen. They did Ryan Terrio's pool. They can help you as well. But I would so highly recommend you call today. Maybe invest that tax refund check into your home. Call today. Start that process today. So when it's pool weather, you're ready to swim. 757-6138, 757-6138, or online, PECbuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with $2,750 off MSRP. Shop our inventory or let us custom order your next vehicle with up to $2,000 bonus cash, our 1,000,000-mile warranty, and more. Shop BayouCDJR.com or visit us off I-10 in La Plaza. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Rolling along here in the 5 o'clock hour. Glad to have you hanging with us. Combine going on right now in Indy. The wide receivers are taking their turn today against the clock. So we'll see all these guys. It's obviously a position group that the Saints are going to be mightily interested in this offseason and into the draft. Mike Nabors good enough to jump aboard with us. He is the author of The Breezeway. You saw Mike for many, many years on CST and their Saints coverage and post-game interviews with Drew Brees. The book is out and doing very well. Be a couple of book signings in the area this weekend. Mike, we always appreciate a couple of minutes, man. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Thanks for having me on. How you been?
Matt, been doing fantastic. First things first, for those interested who maybe have gotten the book or haven't gotten the book yet, give us the details on the book signing this weekend.
Well, the power of your show, I was on, it seems like 10 years ago, right before the book was released, and I gave some information. I think 15 books were sold from the Matt Moscona show after further review, so I appreciate that, my friend.
That's fantastic.
But we're going to do a couple. Yeah, we're going to do a couple book signings. Kind of the second wave. We had 4 in New Orleans over the holidays, and they all went really well. But I'm going to be at Beau Soleil Books in downtown Lafayette from 5:30 to 7 tomorrow, and I'm going to be in Baton Rouge on Saturday at the Barnes & Noble on Blue Bonnet Boulevard. I have to remember the street. Blue Bonnet Boulevard, Barnes & Noble, from 1 to 3:30 on Saturday. So Lafayette on Friday, and come see me in Baton Rouge, 1 to 3, Blue Bonnet Boulevard, Barnes & Noble in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, that's there in Perkins Row. If people want to go meet Mike and pick up your copy of the book if you're riding around on Saturday. I'm really curious your opinion, obviously knowing Sean Payton for as well as did over these years, his decision to step away in the manner in which he did. What was your reaction to that?
I was shocked. I mean, surprised, not shocked, I should say. I felt like it was a long season in so many ways, but I think that's just a part of what happened with Sean Payton. I think the quarterback situation, he won't say this, but the things that I'm hearing behind the scenes, obviously, when you lose to Drew Brees as the head football coach, when you're tied with the quarterback that long, I think it was difficult for him. But I think you couple that with the season, with the evacuation, with the injuries that were more than most NFL teams, with the COVID outbreaks, which were more than most NFL teams. And I saw some frustration. The game that really stood out for me, Matt, was the game they lost in Nashville to the Titans, a team that really was talented, but it was the Saints team that really rallied in that game and could have won that game with the Trevor Siemian, but there were some plays down the stretch and some penalties that weren't good for the Saints. Peyton's frustration after that game is something I hadn't seen in a long time from him. And he's actually, frankly, just like when Drew played, was better after a loss with the media than a win. But he was really short with us after that Titans loss. I saw a lot of frustration I haven't seen Sean Payton sometimes. So I think it was the quarterback situation. I think it was a tough season. I think he's interested in broadcasting. And we spent some time with him about a month ago, and he looked really relieved. And, I think he needed a break from coaching for a while. I think he will coach again, like many of us think he will, but I think he needed a break.
So you're a longtime broadcaster, and you also know Sean Payton. What do you think about his prospects as a broadcaster?
It's funny, Matt, because, I've thought about this. I never thought Tony Romo would be a good broadcaster. And he's obviously done very well. I think Sean Payton has potential. I'll say that. I'm not sure how he will be as a broadcaster in terms of being an on-air presence. But here's the one thing I think is in his favor, is that Sean Payton, away from the coaching podium, is always good with opinions. He's not afraid to criticize guys when he was a coach and to maybe poke the bear a little bit with the opposition. If he can do that as an announcer, I think he'll be a big hit. And, as much as I, have been a supporter of Drew Brees and I've written this book, I think the main criticism of Brees has been he's not offering the opinions of the Collinsworths and the Romos. I don't think that'll be a problem with Sean Payton. I think Brees needs to think about that in terms of his future as a broadcaster. But I think in terms of offering an opinion and not holding back, I think that could potentially serve Sean Payton very well.
Mike, what do you think, or do you know, have you spoken to Drew Brees, what is next for him there at NBC, considering all of the turnover in these broadcast booths?
I know Drew, a long time ago, he wanted to be an analyst, and it's something that he could take his kids on the road with him, and that's when his kids were younger, not that they're a lot older now. But I think that's something that he wants to do and call more games and maybe not be an analyst in studio. I haven't talked to him much since he's been in NBC. Maybe that's changed for him a little bit. But I know the one time he really took an exception to one of my questions, which didn't happen too often, was when I asked him at the Pro Bowl after the 2019 season, and this is in the book, is it going to be hard for you when you become a broadcaster and you're not removed too far away from your teammates or guys you played against to criticize them? And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, as a broadcaster, you're going to have to do that." And he really framed his answer in a way that I'm not going to be that guy that criticizes. It's all in the way that I say it. Well, I mean, guys like Chris Collinsworth, Matt, they don't care how they say it.
Right.
Romo is probably in the middle of that. But I think your most successful broadcasters are guys who are very smart and they're prepared, but they also aren't afraid to offer an opinion and aren't afraid to be critical. And I think Drew's going to have to work on that to take his broadcasting to the next level. And it'll be interesting to see if Sean Payton is a broadcaster. It looks like he will be, how critical he'll be, because I think that's a big part of what makes them successful, or will make them successful.
That's a great point. Mike Nabors is with us. He's the author of The Breeze Way. If you want to pick up the book, be a signing in Baton Rouge on Saturday at Bluebonnet, at Barnes & Noble's in Perkins Row, and Bluebonnet in Lafayette tomorrow. Let's talk some on-field stuff here, Mike. Do you have a sense of what direction the Saints might go at quarterback?
Boy, it's so interesting. And as you know, I live in Tampa, and they're like a scorn lover there with Tom Brady. They just don't know what to do with themselves. I think there's two schools of thought in Tampa that you were lucky to have Tom Brady for 2 years, and there's also a school that maybe they'll keep Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask with the hope of a salary structure that they can bring Tom Brady back if he decides to come back late. I don't think that will happen in Tampa. But the reason I bring that up is it's the state of the NFC South. I mean, you talk about a division, Matt. It was one of the most powerful or most successful, toughest divisions in the NFL. And you could make a case going into the season it could be the weakest link in the NFL. I think Jameis Winston is the leader in the clubhouse, but from what I'm hearing, they like Jameis Winston. They don't love him. I thought it was interesting. Mickey Loomis said at the Combine today, we're keeping our options open for Jameis, and we hope he keeps his options open for us. So there's mutual interest there. In contrast, Bruce Arians said recently he doesn't think it'll be a great fit for Jameis to come back to the Bucs. So here's the interesting thing. If it's not Jameis, then who is it? Yeah. I mean, I thought when everything started with Sean Payton leaving and not knowing what was going to happen in Las Vegas, that Derek Carr may be a good answer. He could be, to me, a dependable veteran, but he's going to stay, it looks like, with Josh McDaniels there. I'm not in love with Garoppolo. I'm not in love with Carson Wentz. Obviously, Taysom Hill's not going to be the starter. I think Jameis is the leader right now, and I thought of when Sean Payton stepped down, that Jameis Winston was obviously a big loser because he had worked with Payton for 2 years, one as a starter. But now I think Jameis is kind of a winner because the quarterback draft is not great, and this free agent crop, he's up there along with a lot of the big names we're hearing. So I think Jameis Winston has some leverage, and it'll be interesting to see how interested Pittsburgh is in a Jameis Winston or potentially Indianapolis. And New Orleans is with what Mickey Loomis said today. So if it's not Jameis, I think it's a huge question mark, but I think he's the leader right now.
Let's assume they can't get a deal done with Jameis. Do you think the draft is the next most likely scenario?
This quarterback class is just not good, Matt. I mean, the Buccaneers drafted Kyle Trask a year ago in the second round, knowing that he wasn't going to play for a while, but also knowing this year's draft class, Kyle Trask is better than a lot of these guys going in the first round. I just don't think that's going to be the guy for this season. I think maybe they go with the Garoppolo. Maybe they make that move, or maybe they bring a Teddy Bridgewater back. I just don't think this class has that guy that can lead the Saints right now.
He is Mike Nabors on Twitter, at Mike Nabors. Hey, man, I saw the text you sent me earlier today. You were visiting with old Blue Gay. Give us a little insight, man. What were you doing talking to Randall today?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Saints hired my production company to produce this errand series where we run errands with Saints legends. We've done it with Archie Manning. We've done it with Morton Anderson, Marcus Colston, Deuce McAllister. Today was the 18th episode we shot. And basically what we do is we go to these Saints legends. We get to know them. We have conversations in the car, but we have them select 2 to 3 errands, and we run errands with them. And Randall Blue Gay, I mean, it was one of the best episodes we've shot because he's an attorney, and he's a district attorney right now in Baton Rouge, and he's doing great things in the community. And the great part about spending time with him, Matt, was he loved playing football, but he loves this just as much. And he's as competitive as an attorney as he was the football player. And his whole life, I mean, he was a great athlete, but he was a straight-A student too. And he never thought he would have the career he would in the NFL. I mean, who had a career like Randall Blue Gay? I mean, who won a Super Bowl in a college which was in his hometown and with a pro franchise in his home state, and then he won it with another franchise too. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a career like that. But his passion for helping, the youth in his community and as a practicing attorney was pretty inspiring, actually.
I'm looking up the Aaron's episodes that you've tweeted out there. Are they on? Where can people find these episodes aside from it's on your YouTube channel there?
No, it's all on the Saints platforms. You can actually go to YouTube itself, and you could put Aaron's and Saints, and they'll all come up. And the names that I listed, I mean, Archie Manning. We just did Jim Mora on that. Cool. That may be that may be my favorite one. Jim Mora embraced the catchphrases. The introduction of the piece we did, he went, Aaron's. He did it off the playoff thing. I mean, he was fantastic. So Roman Harper took me to Target, really put me to work.
So
we decorated his apartment, and the first one we did was with Joe Horn, and we took him back to the Dome for the first time in a decade, and he got choked up about being in the Superdome. So we run the gamut in terms of emotions with these errands, and we're going to shoot Willie Roaf in a couple weeks, so I'm going to have to find a really big Mercedes to fit me and Willie Rose in.
He is Mike Nabors on Twitter at Mike Nabors. Check out The Breeze Way. Of course, at Amazon or wherever you buy your books, you can find it there, and MikeNabors.com. Man, we always appreciate the visit. Best of luck with the signings here in town over the next couple of days, man. We'll visit soon.
I'm a big fan of Scone-Stradamus, too, so keep that on, my friend.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. Scone-Stradamus, thank you, Mike. Scone-Stradamus may retire. Scone-Stradamus had himself a run last year. But, no, you know what he's talking about? He's talking about, I was thinking my wagers. He was talking about my post-game rants that I do after Saints games. Yeah, y'all check that out on my YouTube channel as well. We appreciate Mike for a couple of minutes there. Guys got great insight into Sean Payton, Drew Brees, just being right there in the trenches with those guys for so many years. So appreciate Mike for a couple of minutes. Yeah, the Breeze Way, if you go to MikeNabors.com, Nabors, if you're interested in the book. It was basically a book that Mike wrote after his many interactions with Drew Brees. I mean, he interviewed Drew Brees after every game he played for the New Orleans Saints for CST. So, I mean, he had that exclusivity with CST for more than a decade. So, I mean, if you got to know him as well as Mike Nabors, so if you want to check out the book, The Breeze Way. I like the sort of the pun there as well, The Breeze Way. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out here. We'll knock out a quick break. We talked a lot of quarterback stuff there with Mike. There's with what's going on at the Combine right now, so many quarterback-needy teams are kicking tires, and it's sort of a strange year because there isn't that slam dunk blue chip crop at the top of the draft. So it's forcing more teams to look into free agency and what might be available. And maybe what's available is what's staring right in front of you for many of these teams. We'll continue. It's AFR.
AFR.
River City's 1 hour air, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime, 752-0001. Tell you every day, when you drive around town, you'll see the big, giant yellow trucks and vans running the streets with the giant clock on the side, and you'll see so many of those service vehicles because so many of your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 hour air the way that I do and the way that so many have done for 40 years. 752-0001, 752-0001. Remember, if you mention the Moscona special, they'll always save you $30 on any system repair. Just mention the show, and they'll give you a discount just for mentioning us when you need a repair from River City's 1 hour air. And they will always come out nights, holidays, weekends, and they never charge you extra to do so. Your AC goes out, and you need it fixed. They can help. River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Kushner Health.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found! The motivation I needed to live healthy.
My new favorite sport. I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Major shakeup. Breaking news out of the combine today. What a gigantic shakeup this could be for round one of the NFL draft. Not sure if you heard. Kenny Pickett. His hand measurement, 8.5 inches. Devastating news for Kenny Pickett. I don't know if you know how big of a deal this is, but the 8.5 inches, that would be the smallest of any quarterback currently in the NFL. And you may say to yourself, yeah, well, that's just circumstance. What does it really matter? You want to take a guess who presently has the smallest hands of any quarterback in the NFL? CV, you want to guess? Throw it out there if you got one. Smallest hands of any quarterback in the NFL. Who is it?
Dangerous?
Nope. Actually, Russell Wilson has the largest hands of any quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, I thought it was opposite day. I bet.
So stupid. Russell Wilson, 10.25 inches, by the way.
Mr. Unlimited.
Followed by Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen. Don't tell me it don't matter. Russ, Rodgers, Josh Allen, biggest hands in the NFL.
All guys that go pretty far with the football.
Mm-hmm. Smallest hands in the NFL? Taysom Hill. Next, Brandon Allen. Don't tell me it don't matter. 39 quarterbacks have been taken in the first round from 2008 to 2020. This is all info accumulated by ESPN Stats and Info. You ready for this? From 2008 to 2020, there were 39 first-round quarterbacks. Largest hands in the group? The Sanchez. Mark Sanchez. But before you laugh, went to back-to-back AFC championship games, mind you.
With a terrible, well, a team that's traditionally been terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smallest hands? Joe Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, and Jared Goff. So maybe there's not much to it after all.
He's got some paws.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Kenny Pickett is doing his best to debunk all of the hand talk. He did say today at the Combine that, well, he's pretty confident where he thinks he should be taken.
I do, and I think knowing how to win is key, and that's the number one thing at this position. What caused that rise? You're saying? I think just all the hard work over the years kind of culminated in that last season. It wasn't just an overnight thing. I didn't just wake up and all that fell into my lap. So it was years and years of hard work with my teammates, my coaches, and we really went out there and had the season we all expected to have.
The I do was when he was asked the question if he felt like he should be the number one quarterback, the first quarterback taken in the draft. Says he does. Interestingly enough, when you start to kind of look around, all of the quarterback-needy teams are making phone calls. There was a report today that the Washington Commanders called every team in the NFL. I mean, they are actively trying to find an upgraded quarterback. Matt LaFleur, at the Combine, had this to say about their current situation with Aaron Rodgers.
You always want to be respectful because I know it's a lot to take on. He's got a lot to think about, and certainly I'm making sure that I consistently communicate with him, but also want to be respectful of his time and the process that he has to go through.
The word out of Green Bay is that they're mending fences, and it seems as though Aaron Rodgers might find a path to remain in Green Bay. Pete Carroll had this to say about Russell Wilson.
At this time of year, there's conversations about everybody. We're talking about everybody. And that's commonplace for us to have conversations with teams about all of the players, particularly marquee players. And that's not changed. It's been the same every year we've been here. So it's the same as it's been. We have no intention of making any move there. But the conversations, John has to feel those he always has, but nothing specific to that.
They'll take the call, but they're not interested in trading Russell Wilson. So you start looking around and you say, where are your options? The biggest question for me is going to be what happens if Jameis Winston gets a pot-committed offer from somebody else? What if Pittsburgh comes in, decides Jameis Winston's our guy, and we're going to give him 5 years, $100 million? I mean, what do you do if you're in New Orleans? Are you willing to go more committed than that? And if not, what's your angle? What direction do you go? Do you go to the draft? Is there someone else? Field Yates at ESPN.com did take a stab at every team starting quarterback next season. And there wasn't much change in New Orleans. He did say that he projects Jameis to be in New Orleans, in the NFC South, excuse me. He thinks Jameis will be in New Orleans. Matt Ryan will be in Atlanta. Sam Darnold will be the starter in Carolina. The most fascinating one of all, though, was Tampa Bay. Because Tom Brady is retired, and Field Yates does not believe that Tom Brady will be back in a Tampa Bay uniform next year. And he does not believe that Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask will be the starter in Tampa. In fact, this would be one of the biggest shakeups in the entire NFL if it did in fact happen. He projects that Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay next year. Talks about needing to work out the legalities, but says if Watson does become available, Tampa would likely need to fork over major draft and/or player compensation to Houston, who will continue to develop Davis Mills. While the Bucs are not assured to acquire a top-flight veteran this offseason to replace Tom Brady, it's the team's most logical path to stay atop the NFC South. You don't really believe Bruce Arians as he's pumping up Blaine Gabbert, do you? You don't really believe that Kyle Trask is ready to assume the role of starting quarterback in Tampa, do you? They're telling you that because they have no interest in dealing Tom Brady anywhere or bringing in someone that would necessitate moving Tom Brady if he decided he wanted to play again. The one option that would be better than Tom Brady is a guy who, before the season, was in the argument as the best young quarterback in the NFL. In the argument, I said. You can have Mahomes and Lamar Jackson who've won MVPs, and I get it, but in the argument for best young quarterback in the NFL. If you get Deshaun Watson in Tampa, that flips the NFC South on its head. The power shift is complete to Tampa if they land a player like Deshaun Watson. And they may just have the assets to do it. So I don't know that Houston would be interested in a low first-round pick or picks. Because if Deshaun Watson goes to Tampa, whatever future picks you get are going to be late round one picks either way. But that is certainly one worth watching because it's the first time I've heard that. And if you're a Saints fan, you obviously have to keep an eye on what the rest of the division is doing because your easiest path to the playoffs, your most direct path, is winning your division. And right now, if it's Gabbard or Trask in Tampa, Darnold in Carolina, and Ryan in Atlanta, whoever the Saints bring in, like your roster, 1-53, is still able to compete with any team in your division. Unless Deshaun Watson goes to Tampa. We will keep you posted. All right, it's After Further Review brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, and they just opened their Hattiesburg office. So that's right. Our neighbors to the east, if you're listening to us there in Hattiesburg or parts of coastal Mississippi, GMFS Mortgage can now service you as well. Check them out online at gmfsmortgage.com. See the loan officers tab right there at the top. Find the local loan officer nearest you and get started today. Lower your monthly mortgage payment through refinancing your mortgage. Save money on your monthly mortgage payment. Skip a payment or two. Shorten the life of your mortgage. It's all possible with a refinance from GMFS Mortgage. gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives. All right, been a really good show, y'all. We appreciate you for hanging out with us here all day today. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. We talked to Scott Kushner. We talked to Kendall Rogers, Mike Nabors earlier this hour. I blew a gasket on SEC officiating in the first segment of the show. You can catch it all on demand if you missed any of it. So glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out our final break of the show. One thing left to do. Otter will jump aboard with us, give us some picks as Otter is back in the saddle after having a couple days off earlier this week for Mardi Gras holiday. We'll do Otter Locks with Jimmy when we return on AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling a home? Call Darren James and get your home sold. You can always log on to agent225.com. Agent225.com. Most user-friendly website in real estate. And you'll see every home listed by every company all in one place. Go to our listings at the top of the page, and you'll see all of Darren's listings right there. 335-7666. 335-7666. It could be your home being mentioned in a live radio ad like this one. Eagles Landing in Prairieville, beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, a 1,700 square foot home. There's one in Wimbledon Estates in Baton Rouge, 5,100 square feet. Check it out right now at agent225.com. Buying or selling, if you want to have an unbelievable customer service experience, if you want to have a stress-free home buying or selling experience, and you want results, you need the best. You need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with $2,750 off MSRP. Shop our inventory or let us custom order your next vehicle with up to $2,000 bonus cash, our 1,000,000-mile warranty, and more. Shop BayouCDJR.com or visit us off I-10 in La Plaza. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Kushner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We got one thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Clark Crane Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in St. Francisville. Because a great deal is worth a short drive to Clark Crane.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and of an incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Can you hear me, Matt?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear, Otter. Loud and clear, Otter.
Yes, indeed. How you doing, Matt?
Man, I'm doing awesome. And I know it's Thursday, and I'm hoping for a nice rebound day from our guy, Kaluchi!
That
doesn't sound promising.
No, I got the pitch.
Okay.
I hit Kaluchi, had a little Mardi Gras special with him. He sent me 3 ticks. 2-0, and the last one lost with 26 seconds to go. That close to going 3-0. He's got 2 picks early on the ice.
All right.
He has the Canucks, the Vancouver Canucks.
All right.
Canucks. Okay. And the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. You know who they are?
The Lightning.
There you go. There we go, baby. Here we go.
Wait, did I nail it?
Lightning.
Did I nail it?
Yes.
I nailed it! Hockey guy, right here. Eat your heart out, Otter. Hockey guy, eat your heart out, Kaluchi.
Yes.
How crazy is that you're going to ask me if I know who the 2-time defending, because it was actually up in the air as to whether or not I would actually know it.
Oh my God! I mean, we can tell you, please, with yourself. So life is still a little victory. Hey, Canucks even money against the Islanders, and the Canucks. I'm sorry, the Lightning laying a big number though. 75 against the Penguins.
Yeah.
So
okay.
He knows something. He knows something when he's laying that kind of number. So he'll be on with us 6:30 tonight. We're over here at we're getting hot boiled crawfish.
Nice.
We're got the those like kind of industrial garage doors. It's up on this beautiful night tonight. Henry Hayes is with us.
All right.
LSU Arkansas last night. Repelled. We're now 3-0. Kaluchi, Dwayne Kaluchi, have you heard of him?
K never misses the drop. You never have to worry about CV. I didn't even have to prep him. He knows to hit the drop.
Jim Murray of Beeson and Matt Newman also talking. A lot of college basketball.
Nice.
Not the greatest night in college hoops. I'm going back to the well on one game, though.
Okay.
And addition by subtraction. You know what that means, right? Huh?
Yes. You take something away and you're better because of it.
Maybe it was in the best interest of the Maize and Blue for Juwan Howard to take that fair swipe or whatever it was at him, okay? because Martelli, frankly, is a better bench coach. Love what they did against Michigan State, earlier in the week. That was Tuesday. I think that was our Mardi Gras selection.
It was.
We were down at Napoleon in St. Charles.
Right there, getting your margaritas from Superior, huh?
Yes, in a back scratcher.
In the back scratcher. It's so stupid.
And so anyway,
all right.
I don't know, man. So I'm going back to them. Laying a modest 2 points against Iowa. Iowa had their emotional senior night. So they've been playing okay, but I like Michigan in this spot. They need it more. I think they're going to take care of business, laying a modest 2 at home against the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten.
All right. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us here in Baton Rouge.
Hey, how we do last night, huh? How we do last night?
2-1. Did well last night. So we had we had Wake Forest. We missed on George Mason, right?
Yes.
All
right. Charlotte won the game.
That's
Charlotte
right. We had Charlotte +2. We had Wake Forest laying the 9.5. George Mason +7 was a loser, though. But 2-1, I'll take it. Win a night. Catch your tickets.
Come on, Colucci!
Come on, Colucci! Come on, Colucci! Need a little rebound from our guy, old Colucci. Last week, a little bit of a letdown, so we need to bounce back.
Oh, hey, Colucci's human.
I know.
He's not a Marvel comic guy. He's actually human.
It's
but he is.
That was like watching Tom Brady lose to Eli Manning with David Tyree with the ball stuck on the side of his head.
Oh yes.
All right, Otter. We got to bounce. Have a great show. We'll talk again tomorrow.
He has the Marvel comic guy, Iceman. Here goes Iceman.
He's the Iceman. Get out of here. All right, get out of here. That's Jimmy Ott. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com. CB, what'd you learn?
Mr. Unlimited has big paws.
Paulie, what did you learn?
You don't like tea.
That's true. I don't like tea.
So, Matt, what did you learn today?
You fired Muso.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Fantastic news. If you go to the website right now, right there on the home page, they are letting all know and all to see that new vehicles are on their way right now to South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. They have new inventory on the way right now. You can reserve your vehicle, which is in transit, at southpointvw.com. So you can go search the inventory, new, certified, pre-owned, any model that you're looking for or year. You can reserve one of the vehicles that's in transit right now to South Point Volkswagen. You don't have to wait to go see what's on the lot. Look at what's on the way right now at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direct?
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes.